We shall walk and agree as one. We will shine bright for the world to see. Our light, strength, and love is unity. We shall move as one in spirit. We shall walk and agree as one. We will shine bright for the world to see. Our light, strength, and love is unity. We believe in love, for it won't fail. Stars or skies our way. We shall move as one in spirit.
Come on, put those hands together.
We shall walk and agree as one. We will shine bright for the world to see. Our light, strength, and love is unity. We believe in love, for it won't fail. Gods or skies our way. We shall move as one in spirit. We shall walk and agree as one. We will shine bright for the world to see. Our light, strength, and love is unity. God Almighty, our strength and power, we shall not be moved. We shall move as one in spirit. shine bright for the world to see. Our light, strength, and love is unity. 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 Our light, strength, and love is unity.
The next couple of songs that we're going to do is celebrating Black History Month, so we want you to enjoy.
Ezekiel saw the wheel way up in the middle of the air. Ezekiel saw the wheel way in the middle of the air. Ezekiel saw the wheel way up in the middle of the air. Ezekiel saw the wheel way in the middle of the air.
The big wheel runs by faith, the little wheel runs by the grace of God.
A wheel in the wheel, way in the middle of the air. Who's that yonder dressed in white, way in the middle of the air?
It must be the children of the Israelites,
Way in the middle of the air.
the big wheel runs by faith, the little wheel runs by the grace of God.
A wheel in the wheel, way in the middle of the air. Who's that yonder dressed in red, way in the middle of the air?
It must be the children Moses led,
Way in the middle of the air. Ezekiel saw the wheel, way up in the middle of the air. Ezekiel saw the wheel, way in the middle of the air. Ezekiel saw the wheel, way up in the middle of the air. Ezekiel saw the wheel, way in the middle of the air. Who's that yonder dressed in black, way in the middle of the air?
it must be the children running back.
Way in the middle of the air.
The big wheel runs by faith, the little wheel runs by the grace of God.
A wheel in the wheel, way in the middle of the air. Ezekiel saw the wheel, way up in the middle of the air. Ezekiel saw the wheel, way in the middle of the air. Ezekiel saw the wheel, way up in the middle of the air. Ezekiel saw the wheel, way in the middle of the air. 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 Way in the middle. Way in the middle of the
Come on, let's hear it for Voice of Love, y'all. Welcome to Black History Month Sunday. Look at somebody next to you and say, oh my. Oh my. You look amazing. You look brilliant, intelligent, powerful, beautiful. I see you blessed, healthy, wealthy, and wise. I see all kinds of good coming your way. I see all kinds of good coming your way. Now high five 2 or 3 people, hug somebody's neck, tell them you're glad to see them at First Unity today. Pass around some of that warmth from your heart. Everybody who is joining us online, we welcome you as well. Will you welcome our online guests and those who are online distance members as well? Live streaming from around the world, we welcome you into this place. You could have been anywhere else today, and you chose to be here. So I just want to say thank you for doing that. If I sound a little froggy today, it's because Thursday, whatever this thing is, it's been trying to go around, tried to jump on me, and it had me for about, down for about 24 hours or so. But I'm feeling much, much better today. It just left behind a little grovel in my throat. It'll make me sound more like a preacher today. Come on now. I can pull a preacher. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. But I'm glad to be here. Thankful for have some of my energy back. Not quite 100%, but I'm feeling really good. So today I'm going to distance hug everybody all at once. Y'all ready? Everybody. Oh, see, you're far enough away. I can't pass anything but love to you. Ain't that beautiful? Those who are joining us from around the world who are live streaming, make sure that you type into the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to know that and say thank you for being here today. I'm going to get out of the way now and let Reverend Kerri Bell come up. As she's coming up, though, just a reminder, if you're with us for the first time today, we have a gift for you at the welcome desk. Make sure you don't leave without that.
Morning, family. Happy Sunday and happy Super Bowl Sunday. Right? Well, I have Miss Janine here with me. So to start off our announcements, Janine is one of our Voice of Love choir members, and she wants to tell you about what they are having next week for you guys.
Well, something sweet is happening next week. We, the Voice of Love, are hosting our bake sale. Yeah! So, a couple ways you can participate and support us to continue our magic is you can bring yourselves and a big hungry belly for lots of baked goods. And if you want to donate your own because you're fancy like that and have some really good recipe, you can come on and bring it along too, so we can include that in our bake sale. So we'll have that during service, after service, right out there. And if you want to bring something, you can talk to Angie or myself, and we'll get you all set up. So come eat some sweet treats. It's Valentine's Love Weekend. Come on.
And they're also going to have complimentary coffee for those who do purchase a baked goodie. So you got your coffee and your sweets. Awesome. All right, so our First Unity Community Board, we do have that in the lobby. There are several business cards on there, so when you go into the lobby today, stop by there and check it out. But if you have a business or a service that you'd like to offer to our community, you can put your business card on that board as well, or if you need some help with that, just see me after service. All right, Wednesday evening meditation. This is every week, guys. It's Wednesday at 6 p.m. We have this at the Asbury Arms Clubhouse. It is in St. Pete. And this week is going to be facilitated, I believe it's facilitated by, I apologize. I don't have that information, but I'll have that information and I'll make sure it goes out in the newsletter. So we do have a different facilitator every week for you guys. All right, so prayer chaplains. We have 2 for you this week. That is going to be Miss Reverend Serena and Miss Merle. They are wearing pink stoles, so if you have something on your heart or you'd like to speak with them, they'll be available for you in the lobby after service. All right, so our Super Bowl 50-50 square raffle, we are full. We have sold all 100 squares, so thank you so much to everyone who has participated. If you did participate, I will be drawing the numbers directly after service. That way you know what your winning numbers are. I'll also take a picture of the board and text it to you as long as I have your cell phone number that you wrote down in the lobby. But let's have some fun, guys, because this is a raffle, so you can win up to $250, and First Unity is getting $250. So thank you so much, guys. All right, last but not least, our annual Town Hall Business Meeting. This is for our active membership. Let me kind of give you an idea of what that is. So if you are an active member of First Unity, which means you are legally an active member, you are invited to attend this meeting. If you have not become an active member and you know that this is your spiritual home, you can do that online at firstunity.org. There is a tab that says Become a Member. You just answer a few questions, soul questions, and then you submit it, and you're a member. It's that simple, guys. Because this meeting, it will be live streamed, and I'm speaking to those of you at home. It will be live streamed, but it will not be, it will be recorded, but not live streamed. So if you're an active member and you are not here, you will get a copy of that sent to your email, but you must be a member. I stress that, guys. All right, so we invite you to join us. That's going to be March 1st here in the Benninger Theater at 1 p.m. All right, so I'd like to invite up Miss Carolyn Lane. She is one of our founding members of the Oneness and Social Justice team. This is a very active group that we have. They do a lot of things throughout the year. I know recently we marched in the Martin Luther King Jr. Parade. We do some stuff with the Pride March, but there's other things they do as well. So I wanted Carolyn to kind of speak to you of what they have coming up now.
Hi, everyone. How are you? All right. Nice to see everyone. Oh, thank you. Oh, all right. This is it. So, what is the Oneness and Social Justice team? We are a group of committed First Unity members, and we are committed to making this world a more just and equitable society. And we meet once a month. And during that time, we plan events like the MLK Parade, the Pride Parade, and then we discuss issues. Today, I'd like to highlight 2 such events. One is coming up this Thursday at 7:15. Danny White, who is president and CEO of Race Without Ism and Pinellas Remembers, we will be sharing his expertise in a presentation called Lynching Wasn't Justice, How Terror Became Policy. This is a Zoom-only meeting, and we hope we're having a great turnout. If you're interested in attending, please sign up in the lobby with your email address, and we will send you the Zoom link. Next, on February 22nd, we will be having an immigration justice interface vigil, which takes place every week, every Sunday between 4 and 5. It's at the Pinellas County Courthouse, which is at 14450 49th Street North. And that's in Clearwater, but honestly, guys, it's about a half hour from here. It's not a great distance. So let's wear our First Unity t-shirts with pride and let the world know that we are First Unity Spiritual Campus and we care. If you're interested, please let me know.
Thank you. And both of these flyers are in the lobby, so if you would like more information, you can find them in the lobby. All right, thank you guys. Enjoy your service. I love you.
Nick, can you continue to play that? Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. The original lyrics to that first verse were, "Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me." And that's because the songwriter saw how wretched his work was in this life when he wrote the song. And we sing it a little differently here, but he wrote it that way because he was the captain of a slave trade ship. And he wrote that song to the tune of the melody that he heard coming from beneath the boat down in the hull. And so when we sing this song, it's not to put any sense of shame or guilt on any of us, but it's to, I apologize, I'm not sure why that was coming through. It's not to put any shame on anyone. It is to remind us of what human beings are capable of if we fall beneath consciousness, if we choose to follow the narratives of us and them, that we're capable of doing the very same thing again. And we need to remind ourselves, not out of fear, but out of solidarity and out of understanding a higher truth, that we stand right now at a pivotal moment in the history of humanity, where we don't need to forget what is behind us. We need to remember what is behind us so that we don't repeat it. Most of the time, the reason that we repeat history is because it's not balanced enough with her story. Maybe you'll catch that later, but it's because we tend to not learn from it. But if we will learn from it, we will not repeat it. Because the only reason you repeat the class is if you didn't graduate. And some of us need to educate and graduate. I'm going to ask Reverend Iman Holdridge to come and share with us a story that is on her heart today as we continue to celebrate Black History Month. And then I want to share with you the second part of our series starting here, that we started here for the month of February. So Reverend Iman Holdridge, if you will come and share. Yes.
Reverend Jon, I want to thank you for trusting me with this moment. I want to honor you. You don't move through life with blinders. You don't see what's in front of you. You see people, systems, and truth. Some may call you political. I see a watchman. I see a bridge builder. I see a leader who refuses to bow to division. You remind us that we are connected to one another and to one source. And when we remember that, it stops being about sides. It becomes about love. It becomes about human dignity. And that's not politics. That's purpose. Thank you, Reverend Jon. Let me tell you a story. This isn't about politics. This is about a black child growing up in America. Today, when stories like this are shared, people hear words like equity, justice, or woke, and immediately assume there's an agenda. But every time someone speaks from lived experience, it isn't political. Sometimes it's simply human. Sometimes it's pain. Sometimes it's truth. Sometimes it's survival. This child was bused across county lines to attend school, taken out of their neighborhood, placed in classrooms with kids who did not look like them, and teachers who did not look like them either. Inside systems that were never designed for them to thrive. They were told this was progress. They were told this was opportunity. But what they weren't told was that once inside those classrooms, the system had already spoken. Not out loud, not in policy manuals, but in lowered expectations, in shortened lessons, in silence when help was needed. Some children were prepared to be lifted. This child was prepared to be passed along. They weren't seen as full of promise. They were seen as a problem to manage. So lessons were shortened. Expectations were lowered. Support was absent. This child went home each day to a father who had only a 6th grade education. A good father, a loving father, a hard-working father, but one who could not help with homework, could not explain math, could not guide school projects, not because he didn't care, but because no one had taught him either. There was no one home to show this child the way. Their older siblings had gone to black schools before integration. Those schools poured into them. They were taught, they were encouraged, they were given tools to succeed. But by the time this child entered school, that system was gone. So this child grew up learning just enough to pass. They learned how to survive classrooms, not how to master them. They graduated with basic math, basic English, a diploma in hand, but without the foundation beneath it. They didn't know how to count money properly, didn't know how to calculate change at a store, and they carried that quietly. Imagine being an adult and suddenly freezing at a cash register. Imagine pretending you understand when you don't. Imagine smiling while your stomach tightens. That shame stayed with them. Not loud shame, silent shame. that kind that makes you avoid certain situations, the kind that makes you feel smaller than you are. College came twice, and twice this child had to walk away. Not because they didn't want it, not because they weren't trying, but because algebra had never been taught, because they did not know how to write a paper, because the foundation was missing. They were asked to run a race they were never trained for. They were expected to build a house without being given bricks. So they learned another way, through life, through struggle, through spirit. They learned by falling down and getting back up, by watching others, by listening deeply, by trusting something greater than circumstances. Slowly, they begin to see themselves differently. They realized they were not broken. They were unfinished. They discovered who they truly were beneath survival. They felt guided. They began to live instead of merely exist. They found joy. They found purpose. They found freedom. But even in freedom, the pain never fully left. Because now, as an adult, they watch people argue about history. They hear words like woke. They hear political. They see books banned. They hear talk of rewriting the past. And it hurts because this isn't theory. This isn't ideology. This is lived experience. This is a child who was overlooked. This is a system that failed. This is a lifetime spent catching up. So when someone asks, why do we need Black history? This is why. Not for blame, not for division, not to make anyone feel guilty, but to understanding for compassion, for human decency. Because now is the time not for sides, but for hearts. Now is the time to remember that behind every label is a human being. Behind every statistic is a child. Behind every story is a soul. Every time someone speaks their truth, it isn't political. Sometimes it's simply pain finding its voice. Sometimes it's healing, asking to be seen. Sometimes it's spirit calling us higher. And now, I tell you something. That child was me. I share this not for pity. I share this for connection. I share this so my white spiritual brothers and sisters, my family in spirit, can understand that when we speak about history, we are speaking about real people, real wounds, real resilience. I share this because I believe love grows when truth is honored. Spirit taught me something powerful. You can rise even when you weren't given the tools. You can thrive even when systems fail you. And you can still become love in motion. But imagine how many others never got that chance. This is why truth matters. This is why history matters. This is why human decency matters. And this is why I speak. I want to close with this. May we listen with open hearts. May we soften where we have hardened. May we choose compassion over comfort, understanding over assumption, and love over fear. May we remember that every story matters. Every child deserves tools to thrive. Every soul carries divine worth. May we walk forward together, not divided by history, but healed by truth. Let love guide our conversations. Let spirit lead our actions. Let human decency be our common ground. And may we become a community where every voice is heard, every life is honored, and every child is seen. And so it is.
I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you, Iman. I see you. How do you follow that? With humility. With love. Thank you, Iman. I didn't know you were going to say all of that. What a powerful story. We are waking up. All of humanity is waking up around the world. And nothing can stop that. It doesn't matter how much another story is told. Nothing can stop this awakening. There's a great emergence. I'm hoping that we can begin to stop seeing persons as much as we see energies, energetic frequencies. We can stop just seeing the exterior of chaotic spaces and voices, and that we can start seeing beyond that, because beyond that is an energy that is flailing and fighting for its last bit of energy. But we have decided that a higher consciousness, a Christ consciousness, love and joy and peace evidenced and manifested in our lives, much more important than the way we've lived. We're able to see the systems now exposed fully for the weakness that they have within them. And the weakness is that it works for a few and not for the all. And there's a higher calling that's going out, and nothing can stop it. We're waking up. In the midst of emergency and urgencies, there is an emergence that's happening in the midst of it. The baby is crowning, if you will. And it is in these moments that we need to recognize when the baby is crowning, that's the time you push. You don't stop. You don't draw back. You take another deep breath and push. Because it's time for this baby, this new earth, to be birthed into the world. And the old earth is screaming and crying, and it can't deal with what it's seeing. But the truth is that it's taking its fangs out of us. The venom is wearing off, and we're waking up to the truth of our divine nature. We're being called into a higher place where we're not divided by all of the things that we have seen on the external. The temporary is passing away. Behold, I make all things new. The revelation of the divine is coming forth in the human being now. The earth is already split. And there's some that will remain in the old world. Let them remain. Don't judge them where they are. Just choose to walk forward into the new earth. Somebody say, I'm of a new earth. Whew. So this is week 2 of February, and this month's series underneath the overarching theme of this year, the Great Emergence, is what I've chosen to call the Great Remembering. And I've said to you before, because I loved words all of my life. For some reason, I loved words. And my mother, she was like big time into enunciation. She would say it that way, enunciation. Her whole face would move, enunciation. Because when I was a kid and I was singing, I would just sing. I could be on pitch. I was on key, but sometimes I wasn't saying the words well. You know what I'm saying? So she would say, Jonathan, enunciate when you sing. And I would say to myself, like that? Because that looks painful. But I loved words growing up, and that's why I had a hard time with a lot of the preachers I grew up with, because they were a lot of Pentecostal and Southern Baptist preachers who preached hellfire and brimstone, and none of them had been to seminary. None of them had any kind of academic training. They just believed in preaching by the letter. Open up and let her fly. And the louder they preached, the more the Holy Ghost had shown up. You know what I mean? And that's the way it was. And so I didn't really care for that preaching. I just kind of go to sleep in the midst of the noise. It was sort of white noise for me. But then I started hearing other preachers on the radio who enunciated. And they used words that I was really intrigued by. And at a very young age, in fact, right after the Revival in the Land tour by contemporary Christian artist Carmen, I got addicted to the sound of Bishop Carlton Pearson. I was introduced to him through song number 3 on that album, I've Got the Joy. And he was Carmen's pastor during that time. In fact, Carmen's ministry office was at Higher Dimensions Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma for many years. It was on the same property. And so Bishop Carlton Pearson was his pastor at the time. And I was introduced to him, but this is before YouTube. This is before you could go and just find it anywhere on the interweb. That's what my aunt called it, the interweb. I'm going to keep moving on past that. She also called it the Walmarks with a K, the Walmarks. She also said when she would find something, she said, I found it. And I thought that's just an accent until she wrote F-O-U-N-T one time on a note and said, I found it. I told you, I grew up next to every redneck joke on the planet. We so far back in the country, you had to drive toward town to hunt. Jeff Foxworthy was my neighbor, and so was Larry the cable guy. He was my cable guy. At least one of his cousins, possibly from Alabama, Mississippi, who knows? But I loved words. And so I remember when I first heard Bishop Pearson, he had this way of putting words together, and those words were energetic to me. And it helped me to start to hear a cadence with words. And so I find words very important. So when I think about emergence, I understand that when you add the Y to it, it's emergency. And here's one of the reasons I think it's written that way, at least in the English language, is because emergence can feel very disorienting. It can feel like an emergency and cause a sense of urgency. But the truth is that we are simply here to remember who we are, not to become a new identity, but to remember. And here's why we need to remember it. For some reason, from 5 weeks in utero up to about 7 years old, the brain is built to be a sponge, and it gathers all kinds of information, and for many of us, inflammation into the being. And so we start to live through that once we turn about 7 or 8 years old and we become conscious. We start to live out of the real that we were trained to live out of. And so the reason we're remembering is because something along the line dismembered our truth. So we are remembering. This is the only thing I believe Jesus means when he talks about remembering Christ's essence. He's not saying remember Jesus' person when you take communion. He's saying that your common union, yoga, your union with the divine will help you to remember that you were never truly dismembered. It was only a mind trick. The truth is you're whole. You're complete. And so this is the great remembering, and today I would like to call it the memory of the deep self. Somebody say deep self. The reason many of us don't go deep is because we are afraid we can't swim in those waters. But I'm inviting us into deeper waters as we go through this process, because what you call becoming is actually remembering. It's not becoming as much as it's remembering. Just a quick check-in with everybody. I want to ask if this is something that happens to you. How many of you ever tried to fix yourself on Monday morning? Like, this week I'm going to become a whole different human being. Anybody else? Today I'm going to become a whole different person this week. Yeah, same. But what ends up happening to many of us is that we're still us, which is actually great. That's really good news, because today I want us to discover a little deeper what it is to truly mean, what it means to remember who we are. And it's not about us becoming a better person. It's about us recognizing the truth of our nature. Pat yourself on the chest and say, I am divine by nature. I am naturally divine. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, did you know I am divine? The next time you're in a really close, intense moment of fellowship with your spouse, remind them that they're talking to divinity. On second thought, don't remind them of anything. Yes, dear, or darling are fantastic words. Matthew McConaughey said this, such a spiritual Southern philosopher of our time. Because I want to frame it this way. We're on our journey back to remembering. He said this, and this stuck out to me this last week. I don't know which book this is in, but I'm pretty sure it's a quote from one of his books. He says, life is a lot like driving at night. You can only see as far as the headlights, but you can make the whole trip that way. Let me say that one more time, because the first time I heard him say it, I went, what? And then it dawned on me what he was saying. He said, life's a lot like driving at night. You can only see as far as the headlights, but you can make the whole trip that way. It reminded me of the psalmist David that said, you are a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. A lot of us say we want to know the future, but if you were shown the future right now, you probably wouldn't be able to handle it in this present moment, because you're in a constant state of stretching to prepare yourself for it. And it's not punishment, it's preparation. It's not punishment, it is positioning. But I would say this, it turns out that the destination that you were driving toward the whole time was in the car. You are the destination. In fact, you didn't miss the sign because you are the signal. I'm preaching better than y'all shouting. I said you didn't miss the sign because you are the signal. Instead of looking for a sign, recognize that you are the broadcast. You are the signal. You're the one. You don't need proof. You are the proof. That went down my right leg. When according to the Genesis account, when Jesus stands in the dark and calls forth light, he doesn't beg it to happen. He doesn't wait for something to appear before he says, oh, that's light. He's not surprised by it not surprised by it because it knows that when it speaks, manifestation happens. And not because it's a thought, but because it's an embodiment of that higher truth. So I'm not looking for signs, I am the signal. This is what happens when you remember who you are. You let go of needing anything else to cue you, because you are the one giving the cues. Life is not happening to me. Life is happening through me and as me. That's walking in your authority. Same root word as author. And the author and the finisher of your faith is the divine. And where is the divine? Within you. Look at your neighbor and say, be the signal, be the signal. Muji says it this way. We're Muji fans. Muji says it this way. Everything you've been looking for is in the place from which you are looking. Everything you're looking for is in the place from which you are looking. It's right here, right now. Somebody say right here, right now. Now, many of us, we think that memory lives in the brain. Passwords, trauma, that embarrassing thing that you did back in 2014 that keeps revisiting you at 2 o'clock in the morning. But there's another memory, there's a deeper memory, and the Tao Te Ching hints at it this way. It says, knowing others is intelligence, knowing yourself is true wisdom. So it hints that there's a different memory, not just the memory of the things that have occurred, but a remembering that's on the inside of you that recognizes that the only thing to really know is you. And this is why it could be said of the old philosopher, to thine own self be, because the highest truth comes from within. And this is why Jesus, the great way shower, said that the kingdom or the king domain or queendom, I like to call it the queendom as well, just like I like to say herstory, not just history, dwells within you. And it is the only evidence that you need. The deep self doesn't remember facts, it remembers being. It remembers truth of your nature. It remembers I belong. It remembers I am connected. It remembers I am already held. The only reason that religion is fighting this kind of message right now is because it's bad for business. Because if I can make you feel like you need to fit in and then give you the adapter at a high price for you to plug in, that's good for business. The reason they killed Jesus was because Jesus was bad for business. He was telling everybody you're already free. That it's a lie to think you have to get it through a priest. It's a lie to think that you have to come to a temple to get it. I'm doing my best, you guys, to work myself out of a job. I love hanging out with you, but I don't want you to come here because you think you need to follow Jon Scott anywhere. Follow your own intuition, your own discernment, your own power. You are the prophet and the prophetess of your life. You don't need Jon Scott. You might like to hang out with him, but you don't need him. We're not followers of a particular person. We're recognizing who we are, and we're rising up in that. The only reason I want you to even come here and hang out is because I know the music is so good and it's really cool to see your faces. And on the first Sunday of each month, we eat together. So there's that reason too. But I'm remembering that I belong, that I'm connected, that I'm already held. I don't have to beg for positioning. I've already been positioned from the heart, mind of God. That's not learning, that's remembering what you knew before the world labeled you otherwise. It's remembering the truth of your nature. So why do we forget? We forget because we live in a culture that hands out gold stars for doing, not being. Can I say that again? We forget because we live in a culture that gives you awards for doing, not being. We get praised for hustling. We get praised for optimizing, for producing, for fixing, for improving. We get praised for all of those things. Nobody has ever had somebody walk up to you and go, wow, you rested so well today. You ever had anybody do that? Oh my God, you took your day off so well. Because we live in a society that says, do, produce. Be a productive citizen. And so we're steered away from being so much that we have sickness and disease because we drive ourselves to prove to the world that we are worthy. You are already worthy. There's nothing for you to do, nowhere for you to go, no one for you to be other than the beautiful you. How about somebody get their hands in the air for a day off, for resting? I mean, what would happen if we had gold stars for resting really great? Oh my God, honey, you took an hour nap today instead of 30 minutes. Woohoo! You get a Twinkie. But the Tao says it plainly, the world is won by those who let go, those who learn to exhale, not just holding your breath, but those who learn how to breathe. Some people think, well, that means, I can let go when I get my life together, right? When I get all of my shift together, then I can let go. No, right now, it's time to exhale. Forgetting isn't a flaw. The forgetting who you are is not a flaw. It doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It's a part of the ride. But that ride led you to this place to be reminded of who you are, right here and right now. You didn't fail at spirituality. You just took the scenic route, so welcome home. St. Paul says it this way: be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It's not replacing your mind. It's not beating your mind into submission. Renewing is more like, hey, remember this. That's all. The renewing of the mind, because see, I understand that many of us want to install better thoughts. But how many of us know sometimes the process of becoming who we really are in real form, to remember it, is about unprogramming or deprogramming or unlearning what we were taught in limited ways of being. Jesus says it this way: unless you become like a child, not childish, childlike. Let me say it this way, my kids, they never woke up wondering if they were enough. They woke up wanting to know what was for breakfast. You know, does that make sense? That's what I think Jesus is saying when he's saying be like a child. Instead of waking up in the morning and wondering if you're worthy, wake up in the morning and go, man, what's for breakfast today? Man, is today Fruity Pebbles Day? Because normally I can't have red dye, 10, 15, 55, whatever it is. Maybe today's the day. But my point is that when Jesus is saying, be like a child, he's talking about repentance. Essentially what it means is metanoia, which means to change your mind or to rethink, and when you've thought, to think again. It was never about begging God for forgiveness. That's a creation of a church system that wants to bring in trillions of dollars every year, and it does. Thank you. But the deep self isn't earned. It's not something you achieve. It's something that's already there. Here's the part where we all get to exhale, in my personal opinion. The deep self is not impressed by your spiritual resume. It doesn't care how long you meditated. The deep self is not asking whether or not you've been to enough workshops. It's not asking you to quote Esther Hicks' entire book. The deep self doesn't need you to quote scripture. It's not keeping score. It's not saying 2 more of those meditation weekends and you'll be okay. It keeps no record of wrong. In fact, I did something. Of course I did. I did what I call a GATJ translation. That stands for Gospel According to John. Moi. I did a GATA translation of 1 Corinthians 13. And the reason I did this is because it's Paul's letter to a church in Corinth. And Corinth is basically about 50 miles, 80 kilometers west of Athens. Okay, it's in Greece. And he's writing to a church there, and here's what he says to them. Everybody good? This is my translation of a Bible verse. And somebody said to me one time, said, how dare you? I said, I know. They said, the audacity. I said, I know it's audacious of me to translate what's been translated thousands of times by others. It's terrible. And I did it anyway. Here's what Paul maybe would write today. So when I get to heaven and I walk through the pearly gates, if Paul slaps me, you'll know why. Here's my adaptation to his letter. If I speak every language on earth and even the language of angels and aliens, but love is not moving through me, my words are just noise. Loud, impressive, but empty. If I can preach insight and decode mysteries, name every truth and carry faith strong enough to move mountains, but love is absent, I am still disconnected from what matters. If I give everything away and I sacrifice my comforts, even my body, but I do it without love, nothing truly changes. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not compete, compare, or inflate itself. Love doesn't need to dominate a room to be real. Love is not rude. Love is not self-absorbed. Love is not easily triggered. Well, that wasn't in there. I just put that in there. Love does not keep a mental ledger of wrongs. This is what I wanted to get to, because I said the deeper self is not keeping score. And the deeper self is love. When we say love is who I am, we need to associate this with the love is who I am. Love does not keep a mental ledger of wrongs. It's not holding up a ledger of the good and the bad that you've done. It could not care less. Love is unconditional. See, if God's love, which is your love because you are very God in human form, is conditional, if your condition can change God's love for you, then God's love is no longer unconditional. Goes on to say, love refuses to store resentment as identity. Love does not celebrate harm. It rejoices when truth rises to the surface. Love protects without controlling, trusts without naivety, hopes without denial, endures without becoming bitter. Love does not expire. Will you say that line with me? Love does not expire. Prophecies will fall silent. Spiritual language will shift. What we think we know will eventually dissolve right before our eyes, because all knowledge is partial, all insight is incomplete. But when wholeness arrives, fragmentation fades. When I was immature, I saw the world through fear and certainty. As I grew, I learned to release the need to be right in order to be real. Right now, we glimpse reality through distortion, as if through fogged lenses. But there will come a knowing that is intimate, direct, and clear. And it will be the way we are already known by God. For now, 3 energies remain: faith, the courage to trust life; hope, the refusal to collapse into despair; and love, the force that holds everything together. And the greatest of these is love. And I said all of that to say, love keeps no record of wrong. It's not keeping score. The deeper self is not keeping score. In fact, the Tao Te Ching says the Tao does nothing, yet leaves nothing undone. The deep self works the same way. You don't achieve the deep self. You stop interrupting it in its natural unfolding. The ego is effort, but the soul is allowance, surrender. And so as this week comes around, when you feel stuck, ask, what am I forgetting about myself right now? When you feel brought into the tension and the stress of what's happening in our world, and you feel like you're spiraling, ask, what am I forgetting about myself right now? When you feel rushed, pushed, pressured, ask, what would happen if I trusted in this moment? When you feel unworthy, remind yourself, this isn't a problem. It's just a memory lapse. And bring yourself back to the center of remembering. And be kind to yourself always. I wrote this line here because I thought it was kind of cute. I noticed this happened to me this last week. It's talking about forgiveness. Even the GPS recalculates without shaming you. It just says rerouting. So if you feel like you've made a wrong turn, the presence within you just says rerouting. No shade. Can you imagine your GPS going, dummy? You miss this turn every single time. What the heaven is wrong with you? But it doesn't. It just says rerouting. So imagine that the spirit that's within you does the same. Because it's not keeping the score on what you might have done wrong or where you may have taken a wrong turn. It's looking at you with love. It's keeping you safe. So in closing, I'm behind this podium. I'm not used to podium. I don't know if y'all have noticed. I've been afraid to walk away from it because I'm not sure what's on the other side. But in closing, loved ones, you are not late to your life. You are not behind schedule. You are not a work in progress. You are a remembering in motion. You are not a problem to fix. See, I love self-help stuff, but so often it is it's built from this idea that I'm a problem to solve. Did I tell y'all that? I think I told you this, and if I told you, flatter me. You know, the saying that there's two kinds of people in the world. There's people who are problem-minded and people who are solution-minded. Y'all have heard that one before? My only issue with somebody who's solution-minded is that if there's no problem, you have to create one because you're solution-minded. Or you don't feel comfortable. So that's why there's a lot of drama llamas running around out here, because I'm a problem solver, I need a problem to solve. I like to say that there's no problem to fix. The truth is we're just waking up to the truth that I'm not a problem. Look at your neighbor and say, I'm not a problem to fix. Now see, this messes with a lot of folks who are like, you can't just look at their life. You can't just tell them that everything's okay. I'm telling you, we're seeing through fractured lenses. That's why we're reacting the way we are. The reason we're stumbling around is because our lenses are fractured and we can't see clearly. Seeing clearly is telling you just how amazing and perfect and beautiful and whole and complete that you are. It gives you the ability to take off the false glasses somebody else gave you and see the truth of your life. And then you can evaluate and orient yourself toward the right path. It's not because something's wrong with you. It's because you're not able to see straight because someone else gave you their ideas. The world said you weren't okay. And for whatever it's worth, Jon Scott's here to tell you you are. The world said you're not okay, and I'm saying you are. The deep self has been walking with you the whole way. Same pace, same breath. So take a moment this week and relax your shoulders. Every time you feel like you're not achieving. Those of you who follow me on social media, you know that sometimes I get in good trouble. And somebody said to me, oh my God, Reverend Jon, I love the way you answered that person who came at you. And then I'm reminded there are people who are watching. I better be careful because my first thought was not to be as nice as I was. I sat with that thought for a minute because occasionally, I don't know if you understand this, Jon Scott is a human being who sometimes just wants to tell him to shut the hell up, and so I don't have to write anything else. I can just say all of that. Because listen, I want to be love and joy and peace, but there's some folks I want to punch in the throat. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm for real. I'm being, is it okay for me to be transparent with y'all? Every once in a while, I'm like, your throat chakra needs an adjustment. And my fist fits it just right. But see, I know that's not right. That's not higher consciousness, but sometimes I forget it. And what am I saying? Every time you get there this coming week, instead of judging yourself, stop judging yourself. Instead of judging yourself for it, bring yourself back to love, back to center. It's just reminding that you're human and you live in a world that sometimes it feels chaotic. Sometimes we don't respond the way we should. Sometimes we react. Okay? But if you can't love yourself right and you can't love yourself more accurately, you won't be able to love anyone else accurately. We're all trying to remember. We're all choosing to remember who we really are. And in the meantime, we're going to slip up sometimes. Here's the magic. This is when I see people who are willing to apologize when they have, instead of taking it personal and justifying it, and projecting and distracting. To me, powerful leadership is not someone's ability to not make mistakes. It's somebody's ability to own it, apologize, and fix it. That's powerful leadership in my personal, because that's conscious leadership. And so in this life, and I'm asking this congregation to consider this coming week, do this for yourself. Give yourself a break. Maybe you don't need a breakthrough. You just need a break. Give yourself that break this week. Love yourself. Take just a moment, if you would, and just put your hand over your heart. And simply say, I am remembering. I am remembering. I am. Come on, say that again. I am remembering. I am remembering. I am. And so it is. Reverend Serena, if you will come and lead us in our meditation. I love you, family.
Time to switch. There it is. The switch was up there. I am. Did you know that when you put these two fingers together, it causes you to breathe where? Just take a breath and notice that. Where is that breath? Up here? Now put these two fingers together and take a breath and notice where that breath is. You notice the difference? That was just a little sharing. To me, I feel the breath here when I hold my second finger with my thumb. All right, so what a powerful morning we've had. A lot of remembering, a lot of love. And so I'm just now getting this. I'm going to start to breathe in a rhythm of, say, 5 in, hold 4, and 7, 8 out. Let's go for 7. And if you can, listen also to the person next to you's breath. And start to come together in one breath. Let's see if we can do that as we begin and to go into this quiet time together in unity, breathing in unity. That just came, so let's give it a go. And begin 1, 2, 3, and 4, filling all your body. Hold. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And again, as I lead you in this meditation time. I am, we are, all one in the greatness of love. This doesn't mean we don't celebrate our uniqueness. Our uniqueness is part of what makes the one all. Celebrate your uniqueness as a manifestation of love as you breathe in rhythm, connecting with those around you, feeling that connection as the one breath, the one spirit of love flows through all. And each breath causes you to relax. Each breath causes you to let go of cords that bind you. Each breath connects you. Each breath helps you to remember your magnificence. Each breath helps you remember you are all that is. And what is all that is? All that is love. And you are love. Love is you. I am that. I am that. And as that now, I set aside the crisis, the chaos, the confusion, any fear. And I let that go. I let that go. I set it aside. Maybe never pick it back up. And I come back to my center and to my wholeness and to my interconnection with all beings, with everything on the planet, with everything in our galaxy, with everything in our universes. I am all of that. And all of that is interconnected. Feel that connection with all that is, with love. Oh, see that. Feel that. Growing. That love just growing and growing and bringing everything together in peace, joy, and love, peace, and joy. Yeah. In unity, we are. And we have the power. I have the power. You have the power. We have the power as us to change a relationship, to change the health of our bodies. Oh, how powerful love is. How powerful I am as love. And we have the power to change our community. And we have the power to change our country. And we have the power to birth this new earth that will be based in love. I am that powerful as love showing up in the world. Bringing and knowing that peace that I am, the joy that I am. Oh, it ripples out and circles around. Huh. Maybe in the silence, just experience all of that love and that unity, that interconnectedness, that power, all that we have. We've been nurturing this new earth for a very long time. Oh, bring it. Yes, it's actually here. It's here. Oh, it's here. Ah, it's here. Ah, it's here now. It's here now. Because I am here now as love, as power, as an interconnected human being. Oh, it's here. Oh, feel that. Feel living in a love where everyone is honored. Where every heart recognizes every heart as love. Oh. And as you come back now, as you come back and feel the support that you have, staying in that unbounded love, being that as you are. Feel yourself here now, stretching, maybe wiggling your shoulders. Let's all take one big breath together. And so it is. Namaskar.
Reverend Serena, thank you, Reverend Serena. Everybody, one more deep breath in. And let it go with a sigh. If we could begin to do that a little more with our lives, how wonderful it would be. Once again, let me say thank you to Voice of Love, the band and the singers for today's presentation. And to Iman Holdridge for sharing her story with us today. Wow. Thank you. Now let's take a few moments. We're going to get into our gratitude and generosity practice around here. One of the things that we believe in is the law of circulation, is that when we give, it shall be given unto us. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. The source is always providing for us an abundant supply. Prosperity and well-being is a part of our true self. And a lot of times what blocks it is our lack of belief that that is possible. So take this moment right now and prepare to give. The ways to give are going up on the screen now as the ushers are preparing as well. You can text to give by texting the amount to 833-691-6105. Of course, you can go to firstunity.org. These are all real digital ways to give, as well as our P.O. box. If you look over beside the screen, you'll see a big QR code. As I've said before, if you missed that, well, not sure. how that we can deal with that. But there's also a QR code on each plate as it's coming by. Thank you to our ushers and greeters for your willingness to support and to share in this time together. Those who are online, please consider also being a sustaining partner with this ministry. If you love what this ministry is sharing with the world, not only support the light currently, but also seed that light into the future. Those of you who are sustaining partners already, thank you, thank you, thank you. We are doing some exciting things in 2026. Can I get a witness from somebody? We're getting prepared to get into a space more permanently, and you are a part of making that possible. As you give, that makes that possible. So we're grateful for that. The band's going to begin to play as they're receiving the offering. When they are concluded, we'll ask the ushers to come down front and we'll say a blessing over the offering. Ask you, if you will, to stretch your hands this way. We want to say thank you, God. Thank you, Source, for all of the provision that comes to us and through us and for us in this life. We speak a blessing of multiplication over these offerings today, not just for the accounts of First Unity Spiritual Campus, but also back to those who have given so joyfully and freely today. We know that you are providing for all of our needs. As we practice this law of circulation, we free ourselves up to allow abundance and prosperity to flow into our lives. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. And so it is. Oh, yeah. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine.
All right, everybody, let's stand to our feet.
We are one.
right.
Perfect.
Have a great day, everybody.